Welcome to the Kindness Project, the podcast designed to share stories of kindness and share how kindness can make positive change in our world, one small act at a time. This time on the Kindness Project, the Kindness Revolution, poetry recitals, and we talk about kindness advent calendars.
Welcome to the Kindness Project.
Hello Charlotte, how are you?
Not bad. I was kind of tense there. I was just like...
Well, we tense because I mentioned that we might do all three of our Christmas episodes all the way through.
Without pausing instead of bit by bit like we usually do. So if I muck up, that's it, we're done. We have to redo everything and it's going to take another, 20 minutes.
Welcome to the Kindness
Propaganda.
Welcome to the Kindness Project Propaganda Podcast. Vive the Kindness Revolution. Are we some sort of kindness revolutionaries then? Is that what we are?
Yeah,
are we the Che Guevara of kindness?
The what?
Che Guevara was a Cuban revolutionary. Who's your favourite revolutionary? That is not a question of the podcast.
I don't know, maybe Alexander Hamilton? Do you thinking about him?
I don't think he's a revolutionary. I think he was he did well. No, actually he was.
He was?
He definitely was. He was part of the battle for the American Revolution, certainly. So maybe Alexander Hamilton definitely counts. If this is the first time you listen to this podcast, listeners, you will be going, what is going on?
What is this drivel they're going on about?
If you've listened to us countless times, you know this is just basically what we do.
This is basic stuff.
And we normally start not with the revolution, but with just...
To the revolution!
Be the revolution! You know what, maybe we should change the podcast name to the Revolution Podcast. That would be...
the Kindness Revolution.
That actually works as a name, the Kindness Revolution. I like it.
We've stuck it this far, Dad. We're not changing now.
True. And actually, I like the humbleness of the project.
It's a simple project.
It's a simple project, not a revolution.
It can be a revolution, but we're sticking with the simple project. I'm not going to start by wearing berets and going around and going, "Vive the people!" I don't know why I'm speaking French. I think you're thinking of Les Miserables.
By a girl who loves pantos loads. Oh yes, she does.
Oh no, she doesn't.
It's Charlotte does. I'm glad that works. I'm so glad that works. If you could have just stared at me and gone, "What are you talking about, Dad?" But you didn't.
And I'm joined by the Candyman himself.
Mr. Candyman can. Should we talk about candy? Because we had an interesting
experience.
Didn't we?
Yeah.
Charlotte was 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're 15 now. And you wanted, as part of your hopes, dreams, goals and aspirations, to go to a poetry open mic and recite your own poetry. How'd it go?
I think it went well. I couldn't tell. My knees were shaking and everything kind of blurred out. Didn't really look up from my phone.
You didn't?
No.
But you spoke clearly?
Yes.
You spoke...
way too fast.
Yeah, but you spoke a little quickly. But it was packed with emotion, articulate, and loved it. However, you weren't my favourite poet of the night. You weren't my favourite poet of the night. My second favourite poet was a lady who managed to have a suite of erotic poetry about sweets. Do you see what I did there? A suite of erotic poetry about sweets. And listeners, I'm never going to think of the same way about bonbons again. Are you, Charlotte?
Or licorice.
Literally, I didn't realise you could make sherbet dib-dabs into a sexual thing. Genuinely, it was an interesting experience, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And she enjoyed it.
Yeah.
She was cavorting around the stage.
She didn't have her shoes on.
She didn't have barefoot and not naked. She had clothes on. But, she seemed to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I suppose poetry is about enjoying yourself. Right?
Yes.
What do you get out of poetry?
Stuff.
Stuff. Is it cathartic, do you think?
Yeah, I find it really difficult to kind of just say what's on my mind. So it's so much easier to just kind of put it in a poem and just kind of go, ugh, get it away from me. Feels.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is cathartic then, because you can sort of express your emotions in a different way that helps you, right?
Yeah.
Do you reckon that lady feels the same way, and that's why she talks about sex and bonbons?
She had a grown son.
That was the interesting thing, right? Her son was filming her from the back, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So he's like, she's like, bang me on Facebook. No, I better not say bang me on Facebook if I'm talking about sex and bonbons, but can you Facebook Live me, please, son of mine? I'm going to talk about sex and bonbons quite a lot. I mean, if I did that to you, which I might have the next poetry jam we go to, how would you feel?
I'll do it.
You do it?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Oh, okay. Well, to be honest...
I'll do it for the laughs.
You do it for the jackals. But to be honest, I'm not going to be writing poetry about erotica and licorice. So you'll be alright. You'll be alright.
Question of the podcast time.
Is it a question of the podcast?
It's a question of the podcast time.
If you wrote erotic poetry,
what would your subject matter be?
That's not the question of the podcast. Because it's
Mine would be fish.
Because it's Christmas time. There's no need to be afraid.
Driving home for Christmas?
I'm driving home. No. So we have got, because it's a Christmas Kindness Project podcast, the first one about Christmas edition.
Yes.
Clearly, we've got a Christmas question in the podcast.
Yes.
And that this week is, do you find bonbons sexy? No, sorry.
Yes.
How do you feel about
licorice?
When I say sherbet, dip, dab, how do you feel? This has got weird. Let's move it away from that. It's what's your favourite ever Christmas present? So what's your favourite ever Christmas present?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I get a lot of good Christmas presents.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so you've got loads of them. However, I don't care what you think, I care about what our listeners think. I don't care about what you think, clearly, I love you loads.
Oh, thanks.
So,
Thanks,
how do our listeners get in touch with us?
But we have this magical thing called an email, and you can send us one of these magical things, and we actually get it in real time. It's actually quite cool.
Amazing. What's that called?
Email.
Email, right, okay.
Mm-hmm. And to get to us, you have to set up your own email.
Let's assume you've got one of these email addresses.
Yes, and you send us. We have our own email thing, and it's ola@thekindnessproject.co.uk.
You did your marching sign there. I don't know what that was for. And how about this thing called Facebook?
I thought it was Facebook.
Facebook.
Facebook. Yes, you just kind of, there's a search bar at the top. Great new thing they invented called a search bar. I find them quite enjoyable. So you just go in and you type the Kindness Project. And then on Twitter it's at Ola Kindness. Don't know what Ola means, but
Hola, H-O-L-A. Hello in Spanish.
Hi kindness.
Hi kindness. Hi kindness.
Hi kindness.
So if you can get in touch with us, please feel free to. And we want to get your answers to this week's question of the podcast, which is, what's the best Christmas present you've ever had? Mm-hmm. Shall we get on with kindness news?
Yeah.
So we've got kindness news now. What are we talking about this week?
Well, I've got 3 Christmas editions, I think. I've got 2 really Christmassy ones.
Well, it is Christmas, so why not? So should we do our first Christmas edition? Now, is the edition just Christmas edition?
Yeah, because none of these Christmas stories are really linked more than a Christmas.
So you haven't got like the Santa edition or a present edition?
I might have a Santa edition.
Oh, you might have a Santa.
Yes, I'll do a Santa edition.
Santa edition. So this is Kindness News.
Santa edition.
Go on then, tell us a good bit of Santa related Kindness News.
Was it Dasher, Comet or Blitzen who jumped out onto the road nearly hitting a driver from Iowa? None of my dear said to KWWL. Noah Herbert was driving down the highway in Dubuque. It's this one here, the big D. It's in Iowa.
Oh, okay, in Iowa. Dubuque.
when he had to swerve off the road to avoid hitting a deer. Herbert ended up in a ditch and was saved by Santa, who was on his way home from an appearance at the mall. Santa's helpers were tasked with calling 911 while he helped Herbert out of his car and wrapped him with his jacket. Santa even called Herbert's mum to tell him he was safe. She asked, "Who is this?" he said. I said, "Santa Claus, ma'am," and you could almost hear the tears in her voice.
Oh, I love it. Just imagine you get a call, right? You sit at home, you get a call, your son's been in an accident. Who is this? Santa. What happened? Why did he get in an accident?
It wasn't even it was a deer. He saved a deer.
He said... So it wasn't... I'm confused now. I'm really confused. So he saved the deer?
Yeah.
Who was driving the car?
Some guy. Noah Herbert.
Noah Herbert. So Noah Herbert was driving the car. And
he swerved and ended up in a ditch and knocked the deer, and he saved the deer and the driver.
Oh, amazing. So he did like a dual act of kindness by saving the deer and the driver. Okay, I get it now. Whose mum did he phone?
Herbert's. But I assume we called the deers after.
How come you were so familiar with Noah Herbert that you can just call him Herbert?
That's not his first name. I thought about his surname.
Alright, but then you'd say Mr. Herbert, wouldn't you? Not
Sir
Herbert.
Oh yeah, but you got it from good.
Shoot that poor deer for. So the deer's okay? As Mr. Noel Herbert doing?
Well, he swerved his car and he had minor injuries.
Minor injuries?
Minor injuries.
Probably doing all right now though.
Probably doing all right.
What was Santa's real name?
Didn't say.
Probably just Santa though.
Santa
Probably
Claus.
actually the real Santa.
Yeah, he was making an appearance at a mall.
Yeah, he did, as Santa's do all over the world. So that's a good piece of Santa-like kindness news. You got that one?
I got one more.
Santa-related?
Santa-related. Okay. 6-year-old Aaron Williams wasn't expecting to see his father's face when he pulled off Santa's beard. Aaron's hand shot up into the air first when his teacher asked who wants to come tug on his beard. Aaron's dad is senior airman Nicholas Williams of the U.S. Air Force, who has been deployed in South Korea for the past 8 months. Williams received a 28-day pass to go home to Mount Juliet, Tennessee for Christmas, but his son Aaron didn't know. Even Mum Whitney got in on the scheme. I told him that wasn't going to be possible, that he couldn't leave, she told WSMV. So he started actually crying when I told him that. He was really upset. To add to the surprise, Williams decided to greet Aaron's kindergarten class dressed as Santa Claus to sweeten the big reveal. After pulling off Santa's beard, hat and wig, Aaron realised who was in front of him. "Daddy," he exclaimed, hugging his dad. When he asked if there was one thing he wanted for Christmas, Aaron only had one response. His dad. He got his Christmas wish.
Oh, this is getting dusty here again, Charlotte. Oh, honestly. Right, 2 responses to that. Since I've turned 41, I think I may be crying at absolutely everything.
Absolutely everything.
And that is such a heartwarming
You can never see a time when there's not a tear in his eye.
It's a very...
Tax returns.
I do cry when I see my tax bill, I tell you. Tax bill! But I had a little tear in my eye of Doctor Who.
That was a good episode.
I had a little tear in my eye when I saw you do your poetry recital, because that was amazing and emotional. There's just a lot of dusty places in the world now that are making me have an allergic reaction. It's not crying. But the second reaction to that is I, for the first time this year, get to dress up as Santa.
Why?
Because I don't know if you know this, listeners, you probably don't, but my business's office is based on the top floor of a library. So we rent office space on the top floor of the library. And I got volunteered to be the library Santa for 2018. So I'm being, on the 20th of December, I'm dressing up as Santa and being the library Santa, which I'm going to absolutely love. Sophie's coming, so she'll clock me in about 2 seconds. And the last time I was Santa, this is how long ago it was, you were 3. And
12 years.
12 years. It was at a Christmas party. Mum used to work in children's centres, and I remember seeing all the kids, and like none of the kids who I was were dressed up as Santa. You sat like that, got your present, and he just went, "You smell like my dad." That was your only reaction. And yeah, I did smell like your dad, because I was your dad. But Santa was real for any of our junior listeners out there. So that's my, and I haven't done it for 12 years, but now I get the chance to be Santa again. Vive the kindness revolution. Vive the revolution. So that's awesome, some awesome pieces of kindness news.
Or yup.
Shall we move on to our story of kindness?
Yes.
So, Charlotte.
Yes.
I had a chat with two very, very lovely ladies the other day,
Yeah.
Lisa and Jenny, right? And for our first story of Christmas kindness, I want to talk about something they got their kids at the start of the year. And it's probably too late for us to do it this year, for you guys, but what they got, instead of a normal advent calendar with chocolate in, they got advent calendars for each day contained an act of kindness. And apparently, I didn't know this, but apparently this is a thing. If you Google kindness advent calendar, you can get loads and loads of advent calendars that just give you different acts of kindness that you can perform each day throughout December. So there's one here, random acts of kindness advent calendar that you can use. Some of them are 2017, some of them are 2018. But if you Google it, you'll have loads of images. And they've just got some really nice things to do. So we've missed the boat on this because we're recording this
10th.
on in between December. But listeners, try doing some of these things over the next month or so from the Kindness Advent Calendar. You know what I'm going to do though? Definitely get yourself one of these for next year. And we can perform these acts of kindness.
Plus chocolate, right?
So let's talk about some of the acts of kindness you could potentially do. Share this with somebody kind. I'm doing that right now. Job done. High five. Smile at everyone you see. I'm doing that right now.
Don't smile creepily though, because if you smile
Spread
too
the
much.
word about a small charity doing great work. I'll tell you what, one of the things that I'm most proud of this year, doing this podcast, is we've showcased loads of really good people doing really good things. And I think we should be proud of that work, because we've been doing this nearly a year.
I know.
And the amount of small charity... So like that, no, God, it feels like 2 years.
God, it feels like we've been doing this a century. I should be 24 by now.
You are. You look 24. Previously, I'm 24. Have you ever seen the show 24?
Is that the one where it counts down the hours? Oh, that's so annoying.
Good show. So hopefully we've met our obligation to spread the word about a small charity doing great work. Compliment a stranger.
You're not a stranger, mate.
I know I'm not, but have you ever complimented a stranger? Like just walked up to something and said, "That's a lovely pair of shoes."
I always feel awkward talking to people who don't want to be talked to.
Yeah, but you don't know, do you? So if you smile at them first and they smile back, you turn around and go, "What a lovely bag." Your poetry about bonbons and erotica is good.
You write good poems.
You write good poems.
How do you know? I've never shown.
Well, you know what? The gent who hosted the poetry night, Ernie, he was really nice, wasn't he? Because he made sure that everybody gave you a generous and warm welcome and clapped. Your poetry deserved it, but they did all clap. Number 5 is spend time with a friend or family member. And number 6 is be kind to yourself. Do something that makes you happy. We have this conversation quite a lot, don't we? But I think one of the things that I talk about is making sure that you are spending enough time to make yourself happy. So that's 6. 7 is give somebody a gift. 8 is thank somebody who's gone out of their way for you. And 9 is spontaneously tell somebody why you think they're great. So, far away.
It's not spontaneous.
Why did you do it spontaneous?
You asked me to do it.
Do it when you entered into this conversation, did you?
Well, I expected to do it when you read it aloud. It was kind of obvious what you were expecting.
Okay. Do you want to spontaneously tell me about later and why?
Nah.
Okay.
You're an awesome chap.
So, yeah, I'm an awesome chap. And there's loads and loads of these random acts of Christmas calendars. I think what I'm going to do next year is create our own one. So create a Kindness Project Christmas Advent Calendar, available in no good bookshops, but we'll let you download it for free off the website. How does that sound? That sounds like a good little project, doesn't it? Little Kindness Project Christmas Advent Calendar.
I feel like I'd be the kind of person who'd just see one and it'd say do good and I'd just pick up a toilet roll and put it back on the shelf.
That probably doesn't count as doing good though, darling, does it? Let's be honest.
I mean, it's not...
Do good. I topped up the toilet roll paper in the low.
No, not top it up, just pick toilet roll up off the floor because then people can trip on it.
Yeah, fair enough.
I put my toe like that.
Yeah, so I think what we do is next year, because that will be our 2-year anniversary, we release a Kindness Project Kindness Advent Calendar, and in the culture we live in today, we'll only start talking about it mid-September to give plenty of people time to download.
That's too late.
It's too late. When should we start talking about it?
About 5 weeks before. Like midsummer holidays.
Yeah, should we start talking about it in August?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, cool. So what I want to hear from you listeners over the Christmas period is what do you do that's particularly kind over Christmas? It's not a question of the podcast, but what I want to do is understand a little bit more about how you're kind to other people over Christmas so we can share some of those stories when we're back from our Christmas holes.
Holes?
Holidays. Honeycombs.
Christmas vacay. It's over. That's it, we're all done. That's it, we're done.
Yeah, and the weird thing is, it is the end, obviously, but and it's the end of our first Christmas episode. However, we've still got something to settle from last week's non-Christmas episode.
Gar.
Huh?
Gar.
What do you mean, gar?
Gar.
Why did you... Can you... We've been doing this a year, right, this podcast. You seem to have developed this alternative language that includes these words. Gar? Oh, yes. Bird? What's the other one? Bird. Just non-words that are just a bit weird. Bird?
They all have meaning, don't they?
What do you mean they've all got meaning? I don't think they've all got meaning. I think a lot of them, actually, Charlotte, have no meaning at all.
Oh, yes, they do. They all have meaning.
I'm glad you think so. Okay, so last week's question of the podcast, this week's was
Yours.
what makes you most proud about your kids, spouse, parents, or other member of your family? And we had a range of responses. Jessica Lake, new friend of the show, but also my cousin, said my mum and dad. Hayley Ball said, just one, the rest of them will kill me. For self-preservation, I will stick to the ones not on Facebook. I'm proud of Leon because at last count his maths and reading age were a whole 2 years above his chronological age. And Sky, I'm so proud of her confidence in any situation. So her little ones are awesome. Mark Bartley said he's proud of his son and partner. Jane Hodges said she's proud of her mum for being the most genuinely generous and lovely lady she knows. Caroline Ball, who's a new friend of the show, and I've started posting kindness stuff on LinkedIn, right? Expecting LinkedIn to be what you're doing, we're all business. But we've been having some really nice answers.
What you doing, we're all business.
What you're doing is just a business social media channel. What you're up to talking about kindness.
What you up to, mate? We're all business.
We're all business. But Caroline Ball, who seems lovely, said our incredible old au pair, Lala. What an amazing name, Lala.
And a what?
Yeah, au pair. It's the member of your family who, or actually it's like a house helper, looks after your kids, cooks some dinner and stuff like that. But certainly in for people who are particularly kind, the au pair becomes a member of the family. So Caroline Ball said, our incredible old au pair Lala and their brother Paul, that's
No, Tipsy.
whose care for us all made her part of our family immediately and forevermore. She had a happiness jar in her bedroom and recorded every special moment. See, I love the idea of a happiness jar, and I also like the idea of a greatness jar. And then Alam Zabiba Ahmed said, my family's ability to never give up makes me fantastically proud. So I get that, Alam. I think that's a completely fair comment. And then I just want to talk about our old friend of the podcast, Jeannie Boyle. Because Jeannie said Holler Kindness a tweet this week because Spotify told her that Holler the Kindness Project was her favourite podcast. But it also told her she liked German podcasts as well for some bizarre reason, and I don't think she spoke German. So Holler Kindness might be her favourite podcast, but apparently she also likes German podcasts as well, which is a bit strange.
Ignore the German podcast, we're the best one.
Kindness! Is that really good German? I don't know any German. I've been to Germany, but I don't know any German.
I don't know any German people, but I know a girl who knows German.
You know a girl who knows German? That's
Fluently.
a continuous link. But on that note, and for our first Christmas edition of the Kindness Project, that's it. See you next time.
Toodles!